Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl with yellow feathers in her hair.
I love this song. This song transcends generations. I mean, everybody kind of knows the song, but do we know the meaning of the song? Copacabana is a song that earned Barry Manilow his first and only Grammy Award. I can't believe that. The artist who wrote the lyrics to the famous song is a man named Bruce Sussman, and he's been in the business for decades. Since then, the two have collaborated hundreds of times.
And their latest project is about the comedian HARMONISTS, a popular singing group who took the world by storm in pre-World War II Europe. The show is called Harmony, and it's coming to New York City. And here to tell us all about it, Bruce Sussman.
Hooray!
Yay! We're so glad to have you on.
I'm happy
Your
to
whole
be here.
life reads like a novel, like an amazing novel. And the collaboration, as we talk about Barry Manilow, has been magic.
It has been. I mean, it's been extraordinary. And, you know, Hollywood and our business is not known for enduring relationships, and we've been going at it for 47 years.
That's amazing. How did the two of you get together?
There used to be a club on 13th Street called Reno Sweeney's. It was a popular cabaret, and they had open mic nights, and we young writers would go down there to try to find young singers who would sing our material, because Barbra Streisand wasn't going to be singing our material, so we tried to find somebody else. And one night I went down, and there was this young guy who was looking for material, and he apparently had some money to pay for it. So he was handing out tapes of himself singing, and I got one of these tapes, and I listened to it. It was okay, but the material was great, and the piano playing was great, and the arrangements were wonderful. So I called him up and said, you know, great, but tell me about all of that. I said, who's doing all that? He said, it's one guy. His name is Barry Manilow, and he works in the mailroom at CBS.
The mailroom.
And I said, well, look, if we're ever in the same room together, introduce me. 6 months later, we were in the same room together, and this fella introduced me, and Barry and I hit it off like that.
Love that story.
And we started working together almost immediately.
Oh my goodness. Do you have a favorite of the songs that you've worked together on?
Well, actually, it changes over the years.
Right.
But in the show Harmony that we'll talk about, there's a song called Every Single Day that I'm just crazy about, partly because I struggled so hard to get to it. It took a long time, but once it did, I was really, really pleased with the way it came out.
Well, you have so many great hits that I love. I Made It Through the Rain, and, of course, the Copa.
Right.
Okay, so who is Lola?
Well, I really haven't talked about this very much, but when when the lyric was taking shape, I was looking for who am I basing this character on, and it was my mother. She never had yellow.
Was she a showgirl?
Well, close.
Okay.
She never had yellow feathers in her hair, but she did wear dresses cut down to there.
She did?
She did, much to my father's dismay. Yeah. And for 2 periods in her life, in the 1940s and then the 1960s, she worked in nightclubs as a cocktail waitress. And she was a showgirl wannabe. And I said, okay, that's, you know, and I just had that image in my mind.
Did she know it was about her?
Oh, yeah, gosh, yes.
Was she flattered?
Well, every time the song came on, like at a wedding or a bar mitzvah, she took to the floor and did her thing.
I love it. So, Bruce, we just have to, you know, mention who you're married to, because we feel like we're married to him, too.
Right.
We love
Rob Shuter. Our favorite gossip. So this is amazing. Tell us about Harmony first, before we forget, because that's going to be coming to Broadway.
Right. Harmony is the true story of the most sensational and wildly successful singing group that you've probably never heard of. And the reason why you probably never heard of them is one of the more astonishing aspects of this amazing story. This takes place in the 1920s in Germany between the wars, a very difficult time, political unrest, economic collapse, and 6 young men who could barely keep themselves fed got together and created a singing group that was completely unique. They combined the intricate intricate harmonies of a group like the modern-day Manhattan Transfer or Take Six, they combined that with physical humor of the Marx Brothers, the comedian harmonists. And they sang on street corners for pennies. They were discovered, and there was a meteoric rise to success. Millions of records. Millions of records. They performed with the greats of their day, Marlene Dietrich, Josephine Baker.
Wow.
They made a dozen movies, and then Hitler takes power in 1933. Some of them are Jewish, some of them are not.
Great, we'll be right back.
Oh my goodness, this story's so good.
Yes.